We're recording?
It's recording.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Singer, and I'm the Assistant Chair in the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Technology. This is Martha Iverson. Marsha is the Director of Business Education at Hofstra. And we're meeting today because there have been a lot of issues with the Business CST. It's the highest failure rate in the state, and people get very demoralized. Thing is, my position is the problem is not the students. I think the problem is the test. And what I'm going to do is go over like some test-taking techniques, which I think will help people to do well. And we'd like you to participate in the discussion because we're going to post this online so you can review it again and other people can see it. Marsha has been involved with New York State in trying to redesign the test. Maybe you could make a couple of comments on what you see the problem with the test is.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. The biggest problem, obviously, for students is that the failure rate is so high. The questions are convoluted. In many instances, and I took the test, spent 7 hours up at the State Ed Department, many of the questions, there was more than one correct answer, but which is the most correct? A second problem is that they have a lot of primary source material, which I'm not really sure how valuable or how effective that is. The third problem is that many of the questions, while they may be within the purview of business education, which is so wide, are not things that business educators generally teach. For instance, there's a question on the yen and its comparison and converting it to dollars.
I have a yen for you.
So
actually, I wish I had some yen.
Right, exactly. So those questions are not things that a business educator at the high school level might teach, and things that they do teach are not on there. So we are trying to encourage Pearson to do something about it, and the state. In fact, in November, there's going to be a 2-day review of the exam to revise, or to review and revise the test, hopefully, and I will be there. The last big problem is that there's absolutely no review material, and that's the biggest problem.
Which is why we're doing this.
Right.
I'd like to add two things to what you said, Marsha. The first, this is a Pearson test, and Pearson tests are notoriously bad. There's a whole international movement to dump Pearson. And I'm part of that tradition. Part of the problem, Pearson is notorious. They actually had a test where they had kids do a reading passage on a race between a hare and a pineapple. And kids are looking at this and they're saying, well, one, I have no idea what a hare is. You know, a hare. They didn't understand it was a rabbit. But they also, even kids who knew the answer said, well, pineapples can't run. And Pearson's position was, well, it was in the text. They should have been able to get it right. So there's a lot of controversy on the Pearson tests. The other thing that Pearson says is we're not saying all the answers could be right, we want you to pick the best right answer. Now that's an opinion, which is the best right answer, so it doesn't belong in the test. One of the things I argue is don't argue with the test. Give them what they want. Your answer may be better. You may think there was a better answer, it's not one of the choices. Give the best answer based on the test, because this is about passing. This is not about arguing about curriculum. You can do that after you get your certification. The other problem, and this Marsha touched on, is you're all going to be business education teachers, but you all had different majors. Some of you majored in accounting, and some of you majored in marketing, and some of you majored in finance. So you haven't taken the same classes. So you're all qualified to be business teachers, but there's vocabulary in the other fields you're not familiar with. So one of the things we're going to focus on today is how do you identify the vocabulary on the test so you can learn the technical jargon and get those questions right. I know nothing about, excuse me, about the business test. I always brag that my superpower is I can pass any test on any subject, whether I know anything about it or not, as long as it's written in English, because other languages are my kryptonite. So what I'm going to try to do is to help you to analyze the test based on the test prep material that we do have, so you could do well. If you look at the first page of the packet I gave you, what they do is they give you a breakdown of the test. Now, the test has 90 multiple choice questions and one 20-point essay. A big thing is the essay, because what I find is that a lot of people who are close to passing don't pass because they don't get all their points on the essay. You want to get all your points on the essay, and I'm going to show you how to do that.
Excuse me for
Yeah.
just 1 second. Just so you know, out of the 90 questions, only 75 count. But you don't know which 75 there are. So that's a really strange piece to begin with. It's not like there are 11 questions in business management, for instance, and 12 in business law, so you know one of the business laws is not one that doesn't count. It's
You don't know.
with it, you have absolutely no idea.
Now, one of the keys is you don't want to leave anything out. So just fill in at the end. There's no penalty for having a wrong answer. There's a penalty for leaving it out. The other thing that's weird about this test, the passing scores of 520. I said, what does that mean? Well, what it means is if you get a perfect score in a test, you got a 600. If you wrote your name and then got everything wrong, you got a 400. So there's a 200-point spread. So that means if you got a 500 on the test, you got a 50. If you got a 520 on the test, you got a 60. 60% on this test is passing. Well, that's very important. This is not a competitive test. You don't got to get a 90. You don't got to get an 80. You don't even have to get a 65. You only have to get a 60. Now, in baseball, if you make out 2/3 of the time, you have a 333 batting average, they send you to the Hall of Fame. The key in baseball is hitting your pitch. And the key on this test is getting your questions right. People have a tendency to panic if they don't know 3 or 4 in a row. And they say, oh, am I going to fail? And then they freeze. On this test, don't worry about the ones you don't know. Everybody doesn't know 30% of the test. Everybody. You got to get your pitches. You got to get the hits on the ones you know. So the others, you just go back and fill in at the end. You make the best choice you can. But what you don't want to do is get stuck on any question. You just want to move along. You'll go back to the ones you don't know later. You also want to make sure you get all your points on the essay. I'd like you to open up the study guide. This is the sample selected response questions. And I'm not really interested in the answers. I'm interested in the vocabulary. Because the first question on business management, entrepreneurship, and ownership, you may not really, that's not your area. Maybe you were accounting. So what you want to do when you look through the sample questions is you want to look at the key words. So this question is, which statement accurately describes a difference between corporations and general partnerships? New York State and Pearson is saying to all of you, you have to know the difference between a corporation and general partnership. If you don't know what they are, when you study, you'll look it up. Now, if you know the difference between a corporation and general partnership, The answer they choose is D. In corporations, owners or stockholders are liable for their actual investments in a company, but not for corporate actions and debts. In general partnerships, you're liable for everything. You know, if you're a partner and you and your partner steals all the money and goes to the Cayman Islands, you're stuck. But if you're a general corporation and the CEO goes to the Cayman Islands and steals all the money, all you lose is your investment. You don't know anything.
Yes, but this is a really good example where there are two answers that are correct. Number one is true, that corporations have to register with the state and partnerships do not. However, is that the key difference? That's the key word. There are two of them that are both correct. But the key difference, the most significant difference, is the
Liability.
the liability.
Yeah.
Double taxation would have been another one, but
Yeah.
but the key difference of the ones listed here is the liability.
Yeah. Well, so a good example, if you go into, you buy stock in one of the Elon Musk companies, all you can lose is your stock. But no one wants to go to a partnership with Elon Musk because he hasn't made money. That's Tesla. They done anything. If you're a partner and they go under, you're liable for everything they owe. I think they owe billions of dollars. They bleed like $1 billion, $2 billion a month per quarter. Don't become partners with Elon Musk. That's what you have to know. Let's take a look at number 2. Could you just read question number 2 for us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Which case would most likely be litigated under the provisions of the New York Uniform Commercial Code?
Now, you didn't do corporate law, but what's the key vocabulary word here?
Litigated.
Yeah, that's the key word. It's a vocabulary test. You don't know the New York Uniform Commercial Code. I have no idea what the New York Commercial Code is. Yeah, I mean, but no, nobody does, and no kid in a class is ever going to have to learn that. However, what we have to do is figure out the best answer here. So the key is, something's going to be, there's going to be a suit under the commercial code. You don't have to know the commercial code. The question is, which of these is most likely to be sued under commercial code? Again, they're saying the answer is C. But what happens is people freeze up and they say, well, I don't know the New York Uniform Commercial Code. You don't have to. What the key you have to know is litigated in commercial code. If you know there's a commercial code, which of these could be sued?
And
Yes, yeah.
one more thing. While there is no review material, there is a test packet that comes with it with performance indicators that you can download from the website. Those performance indicators are where the questions come from. It is really the thing that I learned the most when I went up to the Albany and took those tests. Things like knowing about the Uniform Commercial Code is in there. They're all, those words are all in those performance indicators.
Yes.
Go through those. Peter, you just told me today, what did you do?
I started writing a Word document with all those performance indicators for the first section,
Yep.
and the first 2 or 3 sub-bullets under that section were 5 pages of information.
Review from, that's where the questions are coming from those performance indicators.
Take a look at choice C, which they say is the right answer. The woman in the back, would you just read choice C for us?
Sure. A New York distributor of business machines receives a shipment that is returned to the manufacturer because the machines do not meet contract specifications.
Stop there. Why are they suing? What ground do they have to sue?
Who doesn't meet the contract specifications?
That's the answer. you sue because you have a contract and they didn't abide by it. That's why that's the right answer. You don't have to know what the commercial code is. You don't have to know anything about it. All you have to know is, as you look at it, what the key words are. And the key word is you're going to sue because they violated the contract. Let's take a look at the next one. Balance. This is numbers. God, I hate numbers. Okay. Use the balance sheet below to answer the question. I guess this is for the accountants. Again, here, don't look at the numbers. Now, look at the question. Could you read the question for us?
According to the information on the balance sheet, what is the debt ratio of XYZ Inc. as of December 31st?
Okay. All right. They're in debt. Now, debt ratio is the ratio between what they got and what they owe, right? So that's what we have to look at. What are their assets? Ma'am, what's the asset? What do they have in assets?
Total assets are 1 million,
And what are their total liabilities?
550,000.
Okay. Now, if you think about it, 500, what would be half of $1 million?
500,000.
Right. So they owe more than 50%, right? So let's see. Which answer is more than 50%?
D.
Yeah. I don't even know how to do the calculations. I just know they owe more than half.
Total liabilities over total assets.
Yes, liabilities over assets, it's more. Now, Elon Musk, his liabilities are 3 or 4 times his assets, so that's why I don't want to be his partner. But
He doesn't
again,
want you either, by the way.
he might. But, so, you know, they give you all information here, like they give you total liabilities in equity, stock holding. They give you a lot of unnecessary information. That's another feature of the Pearson test. They give you information you don't need, and you're looking at all these numbers. In reality, there's only 2 numbers that count: total assets and total liabilities. Everything else is extraneous. You just have to relax. But if you start getting nervous and saying, oh, I don't know how to divide, I don't know the percentages, that's the kind of thing that throws you. And once you get thrown, you mess up the rest of the test. But if you just take it easy and say, wow, they owe more than half. Let me see if any of the numbers are more than half. You got it. Next person, could you read the next question for us?
In a high school business and marketing class, students in small groups are investigating types of e-commerce businesses.
What kind of businesses are they investigating?
E-commerce.
Okay.
One group researches e-commerce businesses known as aggregators, internet distribution businesses that act as intermediates who market and sell products manufactured by a variety of companies to attract customers and promote consumer purchasing through their websites. Aggregators typically provide.
Okay. Now, how do they throw people with this question? What's the weird word? There's one big weird word. Aggregate internet distributor business. I'm looking at it. I have absolutely no idea what an aggregator, distributor, internet business is. Oh, but then they explain what it is. It's an intermediary business, and it promotes consumer purchasing and through a website, aggregators. Can anybody give me an example of a website? Yeah.
Amazon?
Very good. Now, if they had said Amazon, you would have figured it out immediately. But because they gave you this ridiculous word, that it's the kind of word that if the kids were reading it, they'd all stop at the word and no one would get past it. They'd be trying to sound it out. And so what they did is they throw you. You ever use Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide which product to buy?
To be honest, reviews. Reviews.
Okay. Anything else helps you with this?
Whatever's on Prime.
Okay. Anything else?
When they give you delivered.
All right. I always have it listed from low to high price.
Sometimes that too.
Yeah, you do that too. Okay. So, again, readily accessible information on products and price transparency allow consumers to find competitive prices for same similar products. Once you know it's Amazon, you know the answer. The problem is they didn't say Amazon. I use Kayak the same way, you know, any of the Booking.com, these are all aggregate. They don't actually sell things. They just help you evaluate and buy it. I guess they get a percent. But by using that word, they throw everybody off.
And these are really good examples of when I said that the questions are so wordy and so convoluted that they make the person taking the test, as he says, crazy. The other big problem that we have is that there are a lot of students that we have, not only have they been finance majors, accounting majors, it could have been 20, 30 years ago. We have a lot of second career people. And they're coming back after having been in one specific sector for 20 years.
And they will be very good teachers, as you will be.
Yes, absolutely.
When you get through this
This horrible
trap.
test.
I want to turn to the essay. That's 20 points. And it's the sample constructed response. One of the things that drives me nuts about Pearson is they don't say multiple choice in essay. You have to guess. So they call it select response and constructed response. It's just jargon. And it's really representative of the whole test. This is the key to the essay. And this is where people get thrown. How many bullets are there, points are there here?
Looks like 5.
6.
6. What I want you to do is, see where it says identify 1, write the number 1. Write the 2 next to provide. Write 3, describe. 4, explain. 5, describe. 6, explain. This is not an essay, this is 6 questions you have to answer. See, and an essay is a holistic piece where you're making an argument on a whole big point. Here, they are looking, did you answer all 6 bullet points? If you didn't answer all 6 bullet points, if you leave out 1 bullet point because you wrote it like an essay, because you thought it was an essay question, then you lost 15% of the points. People mess up the essay because it's not an essay. It's a constructed response. You're responding to each bullet point. What I recommend is now, the other thing is it should be between 400 and 600 words. That's a lie. It should be 600 words. 400 words, they'll give you credit. But you don't want credit. You want full credit. So you're writing 600 words. But it's difficult to write to the words. And you get them up too many. So what you should do is you should answer all 6 bullet points and don't worry about the words. And after you've answered all 6 bullet points, you look at your word count. Did they give you a word count?
Yes.
And then they give you the word count and you say, my gosh, I have 450 words here. So what do? You add more words. Or all of a sudden they stop you because you're over. And then what you do is you go back and edit words out. But I say on the social studies test, if you're short words, the president's name is President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. 4 words. If you're over, his name is FDR. 1 word. And that's how you do it. But you don't worry about the words until you've answered all 6 questions.
Alan,
Yeah.
where it says learning goal, rationale, the bullet points.
Yeah.
Can you put those in like that?
Yeah. You can act as if it's a test. So they said, identify 1 learning goal to use as of social media and social marketing site marketing tools. So the learning goal is students will be able to demonstrate how e-marketing can be used to enhance a business sales reputation and market share. Now, let's look at the question. You're planning to teach a high school unit on the use of social media and social network sites as marketing tools. So your learning goal, students will be able to demonstrate how e-marketing can be used to enhance a business sales reputation market share. Let's go back and say use of social media and social networking. And let's say you're teaching a high school unit on, what's another high school unit you might be teaching?
In marketing,
Yeah, marketing, or in anything in business.
advertising.
Okay, you're planning to teach a high school on the use of advertising as a marketing tool. Okay? So students will be able to demonstrate how advertising can be used to enhance a business sales reputation market share. You're going to take their structure and you're just going to change it to fit the specific question. The structure is always the same. What they change is what the unit is. So you can prepare for the essay and you don't have to be nervous about that because that's always it. You go in and you're nervous because who knows what the essay will be. And the essay will be that you're going to prepare a high school unit on one of these things. And your goal is always to restate it just like they did. Your rationale, that's a little bit harder. In your rationale, you're explaining why you are going to do this. So it says, provide a clear and logical rationale for including the learning goal. That question is, why am I including this learning goal? Question number 3, what activity will I use to teach this learning goal? Question number 4, how will I differentiate instruction so all students in my class will achieve this learning goal? Question number 5, how will I assess will the students in my class learn the lesson? In question number 6, how will I use the assessment to plan future lessons? Those are the 6 questions in English. What is the goal? How will I achieve the goal? What is the goal? What is my reason for the goal? How will I achieve the goal? How will I differentiate so all kids can learn? How will I assess what they learned? And how will I plan future lessons based on my assessment? It's not that complicated if you talk about it in English, except they don't. And that's why we're doing this. I know nothing about business. What I'm good at is figuring out how you take a test. And this is a test. I always say it's a test on whether you follow directions. Answer the bullet points, edit it up, edit it down, so you have your 598 is okay. So you have all your words. On the multiple choice, figure out the key vocabulary. What I always say is, cover the choices, read the question. What does this question mean? Can I answer it without the choices? Then look at the choices. Oh, that's the best answer. If you don't know one, skip it, and you go back at the end and fill everything in, and you will all pass this impossible business CST.
Do you suggest people do the essay first?
No. The essay's worth 20 points. The other stuff is worth 80 points. You want to go through everything. You want to, they give you an hour more than you need for the test. The reason people run out of time is because they panic and they obsess about something that they have no idea what it is. The key is not to do the essay first, but the key is just go through it. If you don't know it, you will go back.
And
don't linger.
And if you can get the answers down to 2, it becomes a true-false. And we all know that you have a 50-50 shot. So if you can get rid of 2 answers immediately, it's a flip of a coin.
And you'll pass. Again, this is a test. Do you follow directions? Do you know the vocabulary? in the past. Okay, thank you very much, you were very helpful.
Thank
And
you.
I hope everybody has.